Welcome to the From the 108 podcast, starring the drunk uncles of White Sox Twitter. He's a Twitter like whore, an Instagram thirst trap, and your grandma's guilty pleasure, Beef Loaf. A West Coast attitude in a decidedly Midwest body, My Sock Summer. And your host, he's sharing obscure music thoughts to give you time to hit the bathroom, Teresa E.
Thank you, Quarantine. Welcome to the From the 108 podcast. Get ready for some baseball, beer, and bullshit. And remember the drinking rules. If Beeflo says allegedly, or that he wrote a blog about that, you drink. If My Sock Summer mentions his time on the West Coast or is simply not paying attention, you drink. And if I swear or tell a story about almost shitting myself in a casino, you drink. Yes. Also, you can make any of us shut the fuck up for 5 minutes by tipping $5. For $10, you can make Beeflo say something nice about Andrew Vaughn. And of course, you can always make all of us drink with a tip of $1.08. Speaking of drinking, fellas, what are you drinking? My Sock Summer, you're up top today, man. What are you drinking today?
Teresi, I'm going to add one thing on this. If you tip and you say hashtag 108 day, I will match that I'll match that and donate that money right into the pot, right over to the good people over at the Pilsen Food Pantry. So whatever gets tipped tonight with hashtag 108 day, I will tip that right over there, send it right over there. So not just your donation, my donation. It'll just be my donation because you guys don't let me fuck with the tip money.
That's right.
So anyway, I am drinking a nice little bottle. It's the 1792 small batch. It was on sale the other day when I was at the Mariano's, so I got it. And as you know, the two drinks a night rule is in play. So I'm on my first drink.
It's down to two now.
Fuck. Yeah. Well, what did I say? 3 last time?
It's 3 was the other time.
Now it's down to 2.
The 3 drink rule is on tap. Thank you, Gordo. I got that down. $10 to the
and Beef. You got to say something nice about Andrew Vaughn.
Andrew Vaughn has a beautiful golden hairline.
Oh my god!
His eyes are not properly spaced, but look delicious.
MSS, just a quick bourbon tip for you. I know you like that. Was it E.H. Taylor? You got me a bottle of.
Yes.
You know where you can find that?
Where?
Right at the 7-Eleven down the street from me.
No fucking way.
Nice. Shit you not. I was there today getting some beers, and I looked behind the counter. I was like, oh shit, I have that bottle at home. Like, so you know where it's at. So swing by.
So here's what you got to do though.
I'm not doing anything. What you're gonna do.
Next time you're at that 7-Eleven, you ask them how much that bottle is, because here's something that happens. It happens in the mean streets of Sterling. They have a liquor store. They have really good bottles. They have them in the back. Right, and then they're 3 times retail. So we at least bought it at retail. So we're not getting fucked over. Thank you, Mr. Webb. We are not getting fucked over. So like if you ask them, hey, how much is that? And the guy goes, $300. Then you can be like, yeah, go fuck yourself, and then move on.
But 7-Eleven gets robbed every 15 minutes. I don't.
Yeah, don't get shot just to save $2 on a bottle of bourbon.
I'm not helping.
$2.
All right, whatever the fuck. Save $2. I said. Like you're always looking for a deal. You know.
Beef, what are you drinking, buddy?
You know what? Before I start drinking, Matty Mitch, I'm not going to give any Andrew Vaughn slander. Okay, I don't have anything against Andrew Vaughn. We had a little bit of a topic going, and some people got heated about. One thing I noticed about Andrew Vaughn before I get into what I'm drinking is that everyone who likes Andrew Vaughn, their expectations are sliding down by the minute. I mean, like we had the Sox in the Basement guys on here, they started sliding back. Everyone on the internet, well, as long as he's decent, as long as he's okay. So I feel like I'm affecting the marketplace by saying that. I'm drinking white wine tonight, Teresa. You know why? Because you and I, the first episode of you. I drank some white wine, and that was a fun episode. I had a great time, and so I think maybe white wine's a secret to me having a good time on the show. So I'm going to go with white wine tonight.
I love it.
How about you, Teresa? What do you drink?
You know, seeing everybody for 108 Day, like it got my baseball vibe back. I had to go pineapple guppy.
Oh yes,
this tastes like the ballpark.
Hercules,
all right, like
Hercules.
I propped this first one. I took a sip and I was just like, I'm sitting in right field, baby. It felt nice. It felt good. So I'm gonna keep drinking this. See how things go. But I might need one of you guys to take over for the show.
I wish I could put my hand on your inner thigh like I would if we were watching the game right now.
The best part about that
baby.
beer, Chirizi, is that
one
it
up?
always
not
takes.
yet.
Yeah, no, we didn't do that. Thanks, Yump. I'm gonna put that
Yump, I
$5.
appreciate you, baby.
Going to the Pilsen Food Pantry. Keep them coming, folks. Drain my wallet.
Oh, man, I love this.
What was I going to tell you? Pineapple Guppy, good beer because it always tastes good. Even if it got a little old, long in the tooth, it wasn't malty. Second, it's only 4% alcohol. Bad part, about 700 calories of beer.
You know what though?
Problem.
I've been on a 4,000 calorie a day diet for the past few weeks, as you could tell by my weigh-in. So this is not really going to blow me out of the water on that. But we'll persevere. We'll make it through this, guys. All together. All together, we'll do it. All right. I love this comment.
Yeah, that's what I think of also when I do baseball games.
And watching Wally do his that's what it's all about.
That's what summer at the ballpark is about. Yeah, that's
so normally around this time we would start in on our banter, but just so happens we were talking earlier and we all had the banter around the same thing that we all just recently watched. So we're gonna get into that. And the documentary that we all watched this week was the Bernie Madoff documentary. It's on it's a docuseries. It's 4 parts, so it's like 4 hours. I watched it all at once. So I went straight through
nice.
4 hours.
Nice. You shot right through it. I love it.
I got home from work. Cornsey was working, so like she was out, and I was like, I'm just gonna sit here for 4 hours and watch this scumbag do what he does. Cheers, Brian.
Bless
Cheers,
you.
Brian. Thank you. Keep them coming, everybody. 108 Day, Pilsen Food Pantry.
I can't wait till my Sock Summer's complaining to us offline about how he's had to donate so much. Oh my God, he had to donate all this money.
Oh, I'm gonna make you guys match it too, so don't worry about it.
Shit.
Yeah, that's fine.
Shit.
I'll take it out of your paycheck.
Okay, that's right.
So Beef, kick us off. Give us a little background on the Bernie Madoff thing. Let's talk about it.
Yeah, sounds good. 10,000 foot view on the Bernie Madoff thing. Bernie Madoff was a money manager on Wall Street, longtime money manager and market maker. And it turned out in right around when the financial crash in 2008, 2009, it turned out that he was actually running a Ponzi scheme. He was running an investment management firm alongside of a market making firm. And we'll get into some of the specifics of that in a little bit. But one of them was totally fake. He was taking money from people and he wasn't investing it. He was just using it for himself, paying his employees to help him run the scam and spreading money out generally everywhere, including charities. I mean, his wife was very charitable and they put a lot of money into that. But he was not, in fact, running an investment firm. There's no money there for people to come get. At the height of it, his firm, on paper, $64 billion, and he had about $230 million left in cash. That's a little bit of a difference, a little bit of a delta there between them. So a lot of you probably know, like, real high level, the story. You heard about that. You heard about a lot of famous people being caught up in it. Most famous for baseball fans was the Wilpon family.
Unbelievable.
The Mets. So, and kind of funny, like Tracy's brought up before, that's the reason why they did that contract with Bobby Bonilla. They invested the Bonilla money they would have had to pay up front into Madoff and thought, well, we'll make multiples of this because Madoff always makes money. And that did not
Cheers,
happen.
Senor Sox.
Senor, thank you, my friend.
But yeah, Beef, that is one thing that they don't really talk about in that documentary, but is absolutely insane, is like the way that they paid. Like Bobby Bonilla was coming to the end of his career.
Yep.
And they wanted to just get him off the team. But they didn't want to pay all the money at once because they knew they could renegotiate this and get it a different way. And so they said, we'll just pay you like forever. And I mean, he's still getting paid. But the problem was the money was, it was all tied up in Madoff. And they were like, we're going to make so much money off this, even with inflation. Like, we're just going to keep making money.
Yeah,
we're
they thought it was
we're just going to pay the dividend, basically, to this guy. And then all of a sudden, they were insolvent as a baseball team because that money all disappeared because it was not real.
Yeah, I was going to say, at the end there, the Mets were using all the money from the team for debt service payments for other stuff. The owners needed the money. They had to drain the money out of the team. Usually you hear like, the owner should put more money in because they're a billionaire. This was the inverse. The owner got all fucked up and Madoff. He needed the money from the team to just pay his life expenses. It was very weird. But 3 things, boys, that really caught my fucking eye in this thing. Treasy, I knew he was an investment manager, right? He was managing people's money. I had no idea that he had a totally legitimate market making business for like 30 years. And now for the people in the comments, what market maker is specifically in equities here is they're the person that holds the stock in between buyers. So basically what happens is a company will issue stock, but they'll do an offering and they sell them out to the marketplace. Now people don't want to hold on to stocks forever and ever and ever. Cheers, Mailman Jack.
Thanks, Jack.
So when they want to get rid of them, the market makers will be in the middle and they'll take them, they'll buy them, they'll sell them off to the next party because the transactions might not happen immediately. Now for that, they take a little fee. You know, they're providing a service right there. And I did not know that he had a really good business going for a while there. And that like kind of that was the genesis for him being someone that people trusted on Wall Street.
And so real quick to get to Maddie Mitch's comment here is who from the 108 is most likely to start a Ponzi scheme and who's more likely to get caught up in a Ponzi scheme. And both answers are me.
Yes, that's treasy for sure.
I will tell you that like back in the day, we like when Kickstarter just was like starting up. If you remember this conversation, it was me and a guy that we knew from when we were doing Advantage Play Gambling.
Yeah.
We were having a conversation at a bar and we were legitimately talking about what would happen if you created a Kickstarter with a really good idea that you had no intention of ever doing and you raised $1 million. You could just keep it, right? This was a legitimate conversation that we had and thought about like, should we do this? So that's not quite a Ponzi scheme, but I mean, we were on our way. So
I mean, there was a lot of that stuff in the old like 2+2 marketplace, like staking guys in poker. Well, guys would let people buy up 150% of them, and a lot of times they wouldn't win, so they just keep the money. They keep the overlay, so you can get in trouble. Obviously, if you do hit something, you know that's like the producers thing, right? They thought the thing was going to tank, and they'd have to repay the investors, and it didn't work out. You know,
who was the doctor that created that little box where you're supposed to give it like a little bit of blood, and then it was going to tell you like check your levels and all that stuff? And it was total junk science, and like it was like a GoFundMe scam too, wasn't it?
Yeah, I mean, Elizabeth Holmes was the, I forget, Theranos is the name of the company.
Theranos, yeah.
I have a Theranos t-shirt. You'll see me wear it every once in a while. Yes, that ended up being a total scam because the product never worked. They kept raising and raising rounds of, and it just, this plays into the Madoff thing too because a lot of this stuff is based on trust. The second thing that was totally unbelievable to me, Treasy, was that the investment management business never made a fucking investment. I was under the impression that he lost his ass and then like to recoup, then he started the Ponzi scheme. No, there was never a legitimate investment. He was just fucking taking the money the whole time. And it was funny because I felt like in some stories you get painted as, you know what, he didn't want to do wrong by these people. What the fuck? Yes, he did. He just took it, and he had no intention of giving anything, man.
And he had like the worst people around him too. Like that 17th floor that they talked about, where it's just like, just everyone's doing cocaine and we're doing, you know, like we're obviously defrauding people. Like it was wild to hear that. But Beef, you're getting to like something that was like a roller coaster for me of being like, what I want to be this guy. So it was, this has a lot to do with his downfall, which is that I forget his first name. It's like Pickhour though is the last name. And this guy, it seems he knew what was going on.
Yeah. Yes. Yep.
And he just kind of grabbed him by the balls and he was just pulling money out whenever he needed it. And then waiting until he needed money, and then he would just fund him whatever he needed to get his payouts done, and then he'd be like, "Oh, by the way, I need another withdrawal now," and he just was bleeding him, and it was absolutely amazing. But what's crazy to me in that I was like, okay, this guy's really got things going, and this when it comes to 2008, I don't know why this guy didn't give him the money to keep the shit going. Like it was like it's only going to be bad for him.
I think it just got too big, Treasy. And if you remember 2008, and I remember it vividly because I was working in real estate, and real estate totally fucking collapsed, and I ended up getting laid off of my job in 2010 because of it, because of the market collapses. There's no money. Like you can imagine how many withdrawals he had. He was crushed by him. There was no way this guy was going to even have the money to loan him. Like that's the problem. Everyone needed liquidity at the time. And if you're saying you have your fund of $64 billion, this guy ain't got $64 billion to loan him. When he was loaning them, he was loaning him a couple $100 million to cover up for a little bit of time, right? This just got out of hand. It was hilarious to me that that's what it was. The market crashed, and that's what caused him to be caught. You know, like it was really just the market.
Didn't he withdraw something like $1.1 billion though? Like he made out like
No,
a bandit
wait.
in that.
Oh
whole
yeah,
more.
all in,
Way more.
all in. Yeah, yes.
Way more because
he made a fortune.
that guy ended up having to pay back. Well, he was dead already. So again, it's like on the fence of like, would I want to have been this guy? His estate paid back $7 billion.
That's insane.
And that wasn't even close enough to cover anything. And I think this is the wild thing. And Beef, I don't know, did you have more?
Yeah, I do, but keep going, man. This is good.
I was
shit.
just gonna say the way that they pay it back was the disgusting part to me. Like
terrible.
Like of all this stuff, like Madoff was a sick fuck, and like I obviously despise that guy, but I kind of hate the lawyer at the end. Like that guy got extremely rich off of all of this, and they like part of it was going to the people that had gotten scammed, and going like, hey, you actually were up $30,000. I'm gonna need $30,000 right now.
Yep.
Like, what the fuck? Like, I mean, like, I get it with the $7 billion guy, right? I don't
There's
get
to
it
be the
with
threshold when you're stealing out of purses and shit. Trying to get other people's last money.
You're
Like,
coming to grandma's house and like kicking in the screen door and going like, I need that $50.
now, Tracy, let me ask
by
you
the
this
way,
question
I'm gonna
about
take half of it.
I want to go back to the pick hour guy for a second because that whole thing, when they introduced him into the story and they start doing all, and then like he's got him under his thumb, it made me start thinking the whole thing sounded like a mob scam. It sounded like some mafia shit that they set up. They gave Bernie some money for the legit business. Said, look, you're gonna do this other fucking business. You're gonna do exactly whatever the fuck we want. And you're laughing about 17.4. You guess what? 3 motherfuckers would be working on 17.4. It'd be our asses. It will 100% be our asses because we know how to keep our goddamn mouths shut and we'll get some shit done. And I was looking at them employees. I'm like, that motherfuckers is us, man. That's our shit.
I would have hoped that we've been better at negotiating our fucking salary than those fucking hooligans.
The IT guys.
The two
They're
programmers.
making fake invoices for millions of dollars, and they're like, "Give us $60,000."
Yes.
Get the fuck out of here!
I've worked
Get the
with
fuck out of here.
I've worked with a lot of programmers in my life, and like I was watching that and thinking in my brain, who are the guys that would end up being involved in this? Like I have a list like in my brain of like guys that like I worked with that I was like, oh, that motherfucker would definitely do this. Like that. That's where I'd see his career going. Yes.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it was like, man, I know guys who would work on this fucking for. Maybe it wouldn't be us, but I think it would be us. The third thing that was hilarious and surprising and ridiculous was that the SEC was told multiple times by Harry Markopoulos, who was an analyst from a rival firm, painted the picture of exactly what the fuck was going on. They investigated several times, never found it. And then the market crashes, and then they find out. And this motherfucker goes to Congress to testify. And I used to think Eazy-E's Real Motherfucking G's was the best diss track ever. This testimony was the best diss track ever. I couldn't get enough of him just bodying the shit out of them constantly during this. I want to go and watch the real tape. I don't know how long it was. I'm going to go watch. It's like pornography for a guy who's in finance. I want to see this shit because it was insanity. And he laid it on a plate to them,
Multiple times.
Yes.
Multiple times. He gave the funniest shit. And like this is the most believable thing in the whole thing that I watched. Like all 4 hours. Most believable thing to me is the motherfucker's about to get investigated and they call him up and say, "Hey, you doing anything wrong?" "No?" "Okay, good." That's the most believable part.
Ridiculous.
That is like
Yes.
I can see that happening. Like you hear about these guys where it's like, oh, this motherfucker was at it for 15 years. I don't know how no one caught him. Well, people, tried to catch him, and then shoddy investigation work went on because someone's lazy as fuck. Like, oh, that's my friend. Let me just give him a call. No, you're not doing anything? Oh, good. All right, see you later. Nothing to see here.
There's laziness and there's also being complicit. Like, it was interesting. The one hedge fund group went in and asked some questions. Remember, I forget what the name of the hedge fund was. It's like Greenwich Partners or some shit like that or whatever. But you have to realize when they go in there to ask these questions, they don't want to find out this is a Ponzi scheme. Their careers are over if they find out some bad shit's going on because they've been putting all their investors' money in there for a decade. They got no name to trade on. They're cooked. They're going to go to jail and they're going to be out of money and everything. So like a lot of these people were complicit. Like the SEC, Bernie Madoff made his bones with the SEC by keeping the doors open on Black Monday in '87. He kept buying stock when the market was crashing, right? They kept buying and buying and buying. So they held the market up, basically. They're one of the firms that held the thing up, so it didn't completely fucking collapse. Once he did that shit, he could write his ticket with the SEC. So he just schmoozed whoever the fuck came in there to investigate. They were in bed with him. He helped write whatever. He helped like write the laws and shit. Like, it was ridiculous. It was like everyone had a piece of this, kind of, so you didn't want it to fail. The hilarious thing to me, though, no audit. There was no independent audit. This is why this thing never gets caught, right? If you put the auditors in there, not guaranteed it'll get caught, but someone's going to get suspicious and want to verify some cash, and they ain't going to be there.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say one of my questions I was gonna ask you. And then I watched like the final episode today. I was gonna be like, back in Dixon, Illinois, because nobody in Sterling, Illinois would do this, but the comptroller in Dixon stole a shitload of money from the city of Dixon. I can't remember the exact amount, but I think it's like $8 million,
$54 million,
$54 million, and she sold $3 million in 1 year. And I don't know what the operating budget is in Dixon, Illinois, but I know it's not 3 million and it was just like she was making fake invoices and she would just like in the, Word, drafts. And it was very similar to what Bernie Madoff was doing, using dot matrix printers when they had laser writers. It's just like weird shit. Like you could have gone in and like made fake invoices and fake stuff and didn't even have to do that. Just put it on some fake ass paper from whatever. But like she did the same thing, like just wrote down these things. And like even in that case, because there was auditors and because there was people checking that accounting firm that checked and signed off on all the audits got busted and they had to pay the money back to Dixon because they fucked up. Yep. So I was like, who's fucking up here and who's going to be responsible for it? Because no one's watching this. How do you get $64 million or $64 billion and have nobody watching it? And then you're like, okay, well, maybe the good people at JP Morgan and Chase would be like, oh, hey, look it. I just fucking he deposited, what was it, like $100 billion or what?
He would have balances. He would have balances between $3 and $7 billion.
It's insane.
Tracy, I was thinking of the SARS report. I was laughing about that because when we did online gambling, if we were getting a wire from offshore, we'd keep it at like 8,000 or less because we wanted to avoid a fucking SARS. This guy's depositing hundreds of millions of dollars in a shot. Nothing. No one cared.
Nobody cares.
JP Morgan, you know what they did? They pulled the Wally. Wasn't me. That's what they did. The whole time they just said, wasn't me, and they paid a fine and they got away with it. Nothing. They're right on rolling on, no problem.
And that's what's kind of is the shit part about, well, one of the shit parts of this whole story is the big guys don't get fucked. And that's just kind of how it is in America. But the little guy gets fucked every fucking time. We're going to go and make our dime on some other guy's back because we need these big guys up there because God forbid we don't have a fucking huge fucking bank that's not even paying attention and gives two shits about anybody else. We're going to go after the little guy and fuck that little guy. I mean, it's just it makes me sick, but that's just the way it is. That's just like how it's always been. Like if you need the shit and you ask for the shit, you're not going to get the shit. But if you act like you don't need the shit, they're going to give you the shit for free. And they're not even going to fucking sit there. They're not even going to check into you if you've already done this. Like he had gotten busted early in his career. Yeah. Like the firm that he had that was doing basically the same thing had already been busted. And so because they put out a brochure and they said it's 100% safe to fucking invest with us. And they're like, yo, you can't say this. Don't put this in a brochure. Let's find out what's going on. How many million have you taken? The guys are like $440 million or whatever. And they're like, holy shit. And they're like, yeah, the guy's doing is Bernie Madoff. So like he'd already been pegged once. And let me just give you a little story. If you get popped for a DUI, they're going to pull you over every fucking time they see you late at night and you're kind of moving a little bit. So if there's any kind of smoke, right, they're going to go right and they're going to pull your ass over. How you get in trouble with the SEC and like you're already on their radar and there people are like, hey, you probably should look at this. This doesn't seem legit. And everyone's like, nah, it's probably fine. Well, I'm going to stop over there. We're going to go have some shrimps. We're going to go have a good lunch. He's going to treat me nice and I'm going to do blow on the 17th floor. And then we're probably going to be fine. Like he's probably okay. Don't worry about it. We'll talk to you. Don't call us. We'll call you.
I must say, the wildest shit about that was that like him getting popped and then them turning a blind eye to it helped him, right?
Yeah.
It's like, okay, now everyone's like, oh, well, it's legit. He was found to be...
He was cleared,
cleared, which is not what happened.
No.
Right? It's like the people that are like, hey, Trevor Bauer was found innocent. No, he wasn't. No, that's not what happened. They just said, oh, we can't prosecute this guy, which is exactly what happened to Madoff. And then everyone's like, well, he's innocent. It's cleared. I'm gonna give him all my money. This is great. Like this guy, these returns, and the SEC says it's legit.
Well, I don't even want to know what this is about, but I've been seeing this all over the place. Should I even ask what gas stove is about?
I don't know. I've been ignoring it. I'm with you, MSS. I'm like, I don't want to ask. I'm too old to know.
We have a gas stove, but I'm not. You can have it if you want it. I don't give a fuck.
This sounds like a TikTok thing.
I'm taking the position.
Okay.
I've taken the position. I'm close enough to death. I don't need to know about any of these things. So I'm just going to live the way I'm living.
I love
John, good to see you on Saturday, and I don't know if we're gonna do Emily in Paris. Jack, I did see
Emmanuel 6 though. We will do at some point.
The Emmanuel in Space. Yeah.
I did see the Anna show on Netflix, and that was the same vein. Like just people that you expect to be really good at their jobs and be smart and do background checks and check out stuff, they don't, because they get overwhelmed by stuff and they're just like, oh, it's fine. Oh,
don't tease it too much. We might talk about Anna Delvey in the later.
Yeah, I've seen most of that. I got to finish that show. White Sox Down says Will County Jail sucked when he was locked up. If you get locked up again, notify the 108ers. We'll send you cookies. No problem. Okay.
All right. Anything else on that one?
No, but I'm sure we could go all show if we wanted to dive.
I know. I want to kind of to cut it if there's nothing else big that we want to talk about there. But that show, that docu
everyone should watch. Everyone should watch that shit.
And you should be pissed off because after you watch it, you're gonna go, this is absolutely still happening somewhere to somebody because they didn't do shit about this.
As Taleb would always say about every crash, the next one's going to be different, but it's going to be worse. And that's what's going to happen here. It's going to be different, and it's going to be worse the next one of these Ponzi schemes.
MSS, speaking of getting some money for us, pay some bills.
Merry New Year from the awesome staff over at Mazda of Orland Park. The Zoom Nation serves Orland Park, Tinley Park, Oak Lawn, Countryside, and the greater Chicagoland area. They feature the best service, sales, parts, and inventory people in the business. They are one of the nation's top Mazda dealer groups. Orland Mazda prides itself on serving the community each and every day. Mazda of Orland Park has a strong and committed sales staff with years of satisfying customers' needs. Combined, their staff has more than 60 years of experience. With 6 decades of experience, you know that every time you visit Mazda of Orland Park, you will leave feeling fully satisfied. What a tongue twister. Feel free to browse their inventory online at www.mazdaoforlandpark.com, where you can also schedule service, request more information about vehicles, value your trade, or inquire about financing. Whether you're from the Chicagoland area, Northwest Indiana, or Southeast Wisconsin, they would love to have you visit and test drive a Mazda today. Mazda of Orland Park, home of the Zoom Nation, 8910 West 159th Street, Orland Park, 708-444-3200. Zoom.
Oh, well done, my friend. Now all you got to do is take the image down. There we go.
What? You can't do it?
I was waiting for you to do it.
How about this? How about that one?
Oh, that's a sloppy
Oh, my
one.
goodness. It's a beautiful one. So, speaking of which, we were going to do some White Sox talk, but then we realized the only thing that the Sox have done is get Hanser Alberto, which is their 47th second baseman in the minor leagues. Kind of unnecessary. So we did want to talk about
broke the horny meter backwards.
We did want to say, that definitely doesn't register on the horny meter.
The horny meter at all.
Yeah, no. We did want to talk a little bit about 108 Day because we appreciate that so many of you came out and so many of you were tweeting about it, and it just and we had a great time. And I just wanted to throw it around to the fellas and ask you kind of what some of your highlights were. I'll start with one of my favorite highlights of it was Sammy Davis Jr. 5000 trying to spit out a question about Chili's, but it took him like 7,000 words to ask it. And then he called Chili's a Tex-Mex restaurant, which I'm not even sure.
I don't think that's right.
Is that what it's supposed to be? Because
No,
good God, they're doing a bad job if that's
I don't think so.
But
that was wild.
I
And
love
actually,
that.
Alex Rude ran up to me after the questions were over and it said he had one job to do. Here's what he was supposed to say in the question. And it was like 3 words, Treasy. It wasn't all the shit that he said. It was like, is he going to get there? Let's get there. Like, you know.
Like, I was like, I was like, what the fuck is this guy getting? Like, when I saw him walk up, I'm like, there's no way this is gonna be good. Like, there's gonna be something like just awful that comes out of his mouth. And then it was pretty tame, but it took a long time. So it was kind of like, like when you got the older gentleman in the porno, it's not that entertaining, and it takes a really long time. But you're proud of him at the end. You're proud of him at the end.
That's right, MSS. Herschel Savage.
No more Herschel.
That was the Herschel Savage
slander.
Yeah, that's right.
Motherfucker. No, it wasn't, dude. There's like a whole series of like really really old dudes. Like Herschel Savage has like kept himself up. There's some like
I don't think we need to get into that. Stay on 108 Day.
But all MSS knows is he's not an Arizona Diamondback. That's it.
No,
give me a 108 Day highlight, MSS.
I want to first say some things. I want to say thank you to Josh Nelson, Jim Margulis, Herb Lawrence, Lawrence Holmes, and Dave Williams of Barstool Sports. I know their time is valuable, and we appreciate them coming out and spending their time with us. I mean, because it's not like they're getting paid for that. So it's been a ride from messaging our fans. Like at the beginning, this is something I wanted to say when we were there. Like when we did our first 108 Day at Bader Brow, I was going through one of our DMs, and it was like, hey, just want to remind you, we're doing this thing at Bader Brow on Friday, right? And they're like, please come, because we're like, God, we need to get 50 people to show up at this motherfucking thing. So they'll be like, hey, these guys are some real players. We're going to give them some shit. And like, so we had
that's a good memory, MSS. We did DM a lot of people before that to try to make sure that they were going to be there, so we didn't look like idiots. I remember that. Yeah.
I did too, but it was mostly just picks,
right?
The norm.
And that actually brought people.
We met Soxwood.
So no, but so we were like mentioning these people, like, come on in, and now like we sell it out in like 3 days without even announcing who's going to be there. So it's been a great growth. Cheers. So I just want to say that, and I also wanted to say publicly thank you to Reggie's for their top-notch fucking service. That shit was good. We've had, it's never been bad, but this was noticeably good. And so I was just like, damn, they finally fucking got it. We spend fucking money. We show the fuck up. We do our thing. We don't ask for a lot, and it worked out really well. So I was just very happy with it.
Speaking of spending money.
Yeah.
So one of the things is, I'm the one who sets this up with Reggie's. They told me what the total bar ring was, which I can't tell you, obviously, but it's outrageous for 100 people. Like there was only 100 people there, and I saw a bunch of people who weren't drinking. Like I talked to a number of people who were like, it's dry January, or they're doing 108 weight loss, or they're just not drinking at night. Like, so there was a good amount of those. Don't talk about my guy's Vo like that.
Yeah, Mrs. Beef wasn't drinking either.
Really?
Vo with no shirt
January.
on was one of the highlights.
Amazing. That was amazing. That's the kind of shit you cannot expect. You roll into a party, and next thing you know, a grown man is shirtless, and everyone is autographing him. And I couldn't wait. They were like, Beef, would you like to sign my abdomen? Yes, of course I would. Why would I not want to do this? I can't think of a reason why I wouldn't do this shit.
If anyone was wondering what they probably knew, the guy that wrote the little bubble that said Last Jedi rules out of his titty, that was me. So, also, we also got to talk about our guy Shane shows up with Andre the Giant's son. I mean,
God,
that guy was fucking enormous, man, and he was so nice. I was thinking, like, if I was that big, I'd be like, fuck everybody, I'll do whatever I want. What are you gonna do about it, right? Like, that's the attitude I would probably have. This guy was so nice. It was great to meet. Great to meet him, and obviously great to see Shane as usual.
Maddie Mitch's question: is there any worry of 108 Day getting too big?
Absolutely.
Think of all the things that are awesome and kept small and more intimate. Yes, and so this is like a big consideration for us because there is discussion about making it bigger. But I don't know. Like
we're gonna get into improvements for next year. And I still got some things that I want to talk about. Like
I do too.
I love. So Beef, give me something you love.
The thing I love about it is that we schedule it so it's halfway between when the Sox last played and till the next time they're going to play. So it's a party for everyone to just get together. You haven't seen your White Sox family in a long time. I almost feel like it's a family party, and you see a lot of the same people. But it's great when you got new people there. I was psyched to meet John Carney and to find out that motherfucker during his break is freezing his ass off in his truck, listening to the show, fucking commenting and shit. It's like, those are the type of things you don't know when you're doing a
Allegedly.
podcast. You see it. Yeah,
Allegedly.
that's true. That's true. That is
It's just alleged that he's working right now.
that he might be. Well, he's on his break.
Right.
He's he was on his break. But yeah, I mean that's the kind of thing you don't know when you're doing a podcast, like what everyone's up to and what. Oh man, this is like a little relief in the workday to check us out. Babbling about whatever the fuck shit. So that type of stuff is really fun. I was happy that Jim Margulis made it.
Yeah,
Because he hasn't made one since the Bader Brown one. That's the last one he made.
And you thought like, okay, this shit's all locked up, and then it's like, yeah, Jim's flying in Southwest, basically flying in and out, like flying in and then the next morning immediately leaving, and it's like, is that going to happen? Like, is Southwest going to be able to pull this off? Not is Jim going to be able to do it. Is Southwest going to be able to pull this off? The major airline, can they possibly get a guy from Nashville to Chicago?
I think Jim just drove him right back to the airport, and Jim just sat in that gate and stared him down until they put him on that fucking plane. That's right. He's like, we're going to will this to happen, sir, and that's happening. Yep.
Yeah, Doughboy might be right. Barry Bag of Donuts was responsible for most of the bar tab. I believe. That I could see.
I mean, I don't know if he paid it all, but he was most of the drinks.
Most of the drinks. Yeah, that's absolutely.
Shut the fuck up here.
I was very happy. Of course, the old school guys like Matt Ramsey. I got to rub against Sockwood, his mustache.
His wood.
Man.
His mustache.
Just so nice.
Smelled great, didn't it?
But some people that I don't see as often, that I got to talk to was cool. Like, so I talked to Mr. Show with Dale. That was a highlight for me. I saw Sockside Pride. Like, we don't see him a lot. And like I feel like we were deprived of him last year a little bit. Like
he never came over.
I didn't get a
he
lot of him.
He only came over one or twice because he was on the other side mostly. Yeah, no, because he did come over. I can remember him coming over.
I definitely remember him coming over. But I come over to the bar and he's sitting there and he's drinking a Two Hearted, and it just like brought back those memories of him having a few too many Two Hearted. And he's like, "Yo, I'm not double fisting though. I'm good." I'm like, "All right, we're on it." So I love that. Apologies to anybody who if maybe like ran past or did anything. Like there were a number of times that like, since I'm the one who's kind of in charge of the night, like I'd be running to do something or handle some situation. But there was overall, I feel like I got a chance to talk to just a ton of people. And we'll talk about that in the next one. That's part of what's important about this night.
K-Dog brings up a good point too. He puts Billy's wife in the comments. When Mrs. Beef and I were driving to the event, I said, "What do you think is going to be the split, men, women?" And she's like, 75-25. And I said, "It'd be 90-10." And a lot of people brought their spouses, their girlfriends. Mm-hmm. We had more women there than we have ever had. That's encouraging. That it's like it is like the family party. It's not just you're going to listen to the boys talk dirty or some shit like that. It's like a fun event for everyone to show up to. So it's encouraging going forward that it is the total White Sox Twitter family showing up there.
Yeah, and you continue to see people that like I was telling you guys that night, like seeing people that I didn't expect to see. Like Brian and his brother Art. Like they never interact with us on Twitter. Yeah. And then like we see them. Then they're just there. And you're like, yes, and it's like, that's cool. John Carney was awesome. And then K-Fid's like flying all the way out from beautiful Las Vegas, and like to come to this event. That's just crazy to me. The crazy that in Jim too, but like Jim is like kind of has more of a reason to be there.
Adam from KC too was another guy.
Adam KC, wife, everything. It was just like, God, this is nuts. My wife was with me for a while and was walking around and saying hi to people. She's like, I'm going to go with you. And I'm going to say hi to these people. And we were talking to Captain Kirk, and his thing was name cannot be left blank. And he's like, "Oh man, I'm nobody important, man. You don't need to discuss anything with me." I'm like, "Well, no, who the fuck are you? Let me talk to you first, and then I will decide if you're important." So I was like, I talked to him for a back and forth. He's like, "Dude, I love your shit," and that's another great thing. They're like having people tell us how much they enjoy it. Having the first panel, which is like guys that we look up to, that we've always looked up to. In this industry, like say, hey, these guys are responsible, for getting this stuff together and doing this stuff. It's like, okay, well, I guess we're doing fucking something right, which is nice. And it's always it's always nice and it's beautiful.
Yeah.
But I'm talking to Kirk, and then my wife's with me and she's like, I'm going to go through. She stays with Kirk for like 15 minutes. I don't know what they talked about, but I was like, love.
They left together too.
Yeah, that's right. I saw that.
I know. I'm pretty sure.
He doesn't remember. MSS does not remember.
But no, like I can't wait up on you anymore because I gotta go. Like I can't sit here and talk to somebody for 20 minutes. I gotta go. I gotta spread the MSS out to all the peoples.
Hello.
You know, I gotta give them 5 minutes here, 5 minutes there, and just go say hi to everybody. It was great. I like that.
I
kill the vibe or what?
If I want to put a bow on this of all the good stuff, like there's a ton of people that I'd like to say like, oh man, it was great to see this person. It was great to see all of you. Obviously, it was awesome, and it's always awesome for this event. How much Sox Machine Josh swears. Like he gets up there, and it's Sox Machine Blue, and I love it, man. I like because. Like hanging out with him all the time, you know his personality, you know how he talks and stuff. So the podcast Josh is not necessarily the guy that you get all the time. Yeah. You know when you're out having drinks. So to see that guy up there and talking some shit about us, talking some shit to the crowd, it's tremendous. That is something like you're not going to really get anywhere else. He's not even like that in the seats, really, unless it's going real bad for the Sox. But
that's true.
On those games, there's no one there. When he's yelling at the pitcher in the mound where the pitcher could hear him, it's only like 6 of us. So you never get that. So it's awesome to have that experience.
Yeah, he did a good job on the intro too. That was I know he was worried about that, and he was like, "Oh, I just want to get through this monologue," and I was like, "Fucking monologue, Josh, seriously?" And then when I heard it, I was like, "Yes." Come on, he's like, and another thing about pictures, that Billy Wires. Where does he find these things? And I was like, where are the jokes coming? Come on, keep it going. You're doing great.
His description of some of Billy Wires' images was
right on point.
It's perfectly graphic.
Yes.
Perfectly graphic. All right. Anything else you guys want to call out from the highlights, or should we get to how we plan to?
Yeah, the last
thinking about improving.
The last thing, MSS love the jizz rag. Jizz rag. I don't care if everyone didn't. I fucking loved it, and I loved seeing. I loved help spreading them out and putting them on other tables. I fucking loved it.
Well, see, here's the deal. It was cool that you guys did that, but I wanted it to be a giveaway. So when you walked in the door, somebody handed it to you, so you had to take it. Like you had to have it as soon as you walked in. So that didn't work. Wasn't going to work.
They offered to do that.
Okay.
Yeah.
But the way that I was thinking about it was we're going to hold everybody. Like we had already seen that there were people downstairs.
Yeah.
And we're going to hold people until 8:00. And the idea of like making that process slower seemed like a bad idea to me. And so the bobblehead giveaway day is a slower getting into the park, and you know it.
Oh no, for sure. Yeah, no, I get it.
So I was just, thinking about how pissed off I am when there's a giveaway that I don't want.
Nice. Such a cunt.
Yeah, I agree, Treasy. That's true.
Okay, whatever. I just but the reason I wanted it that way is so that they made sure that they they got it. So
they were at everyone's seat, and then
we made sure
a lot of people forgot them. So
yeah,
did
they?
But yeah, a lot of people forgot them. Yeah, that's right.
I mean,
Reggie's is just covered in them now.
Yeah, that's their carpet now.
They're gonna be great bar towels. They're great. They
probably would be. They probably would be.
They're beautiful. Probably the best ones they've ever had there. So thank you, love.
So looking forward to next year, right? Like how are we gonna do this next year, right? And so the idea is we want to expand to possibly a bigger room. The problem is if we get it to too big of a room, you lose some of the things that are custom in a room like that, like having tables and having people sitting around and having like more of a bar atmosphere. Losing the bar atmosphere is just something that we're really hesitant to go away from, right? Like we don't want this to set up like we're gonna come up like a folk band and you're gonna be in your seats and watching us, right? Like we want this to be like people milling around and stuff. And because of that, the other thing that I personally want to do next year is be a little more meticulous about the sound beforehand and making sure that we're loud enough. Because I think we obviously we're mic checking and stuff, but we're not mic checking for there's going to be 100 people in this room and 97 of them are going to be hammered. So so we got to have to be talking loud enough. So those are a couple things from my side that I'm looking at. The big thing to me that can throw a wrench in all of this is if the Sox actually grew a pair and had Sox Fest, because then we'd want to have it as close to Sox Fest as possible.
Right.
So we'd have to figure that out. We'd have to figure out where Sox Fest is, and then we'd have to figure out how to get close to it.
So, and I know that there's, I was listening to some things. I'm watching Loaf say, I don't want to lose the small field. Fuck that.
Yeah.
I want a bigger room. I want more people. And the reason that I want that is because I want more people to be able to experience it. It's like a little club now, and that's fine. But I want to you want to grow a brand. You want to grow something, and this is something that we do that's unique and has been very good. So I want more people to experience it. Now, here's a way we can do that. There's different ways that we can do it. What could potentially happen, right? If the Sox do grow a pair, thank you very much.
Cheers.
The Sox do grow a pair and have Sox Fest next year, which I think they will. I don't think they're going to be able to get away with this for 2 years or 3 years. We could have an event for post Sox Fest at Reggie's, which is right by the McCormick Place, which is probably where they're going to have Sox Fest. But we can also have a 108 day somewhere else. Now, we could do a 108 day, live somewhere in the burbs, somewhere in the city, whatever. We can do a smaller room, intimate venue, that's fine. Then do another one for Sox Fest after party, maybe a little less, production, maybe more of it's more of a hang. We'll do a quick, like when we did the road party watches or road game watches,
Thanks, Gordo.
show up and just kind of, do the things. Thanks, Gordo. Do that kind of shit, and so we could get more people in the door and out and still have the small things. So then you guys are okay with that. But if it was like this year for sure, I know we talked about it and it just was like, we weren't together. We didn't have it together to do a 300 person venue. We didn't know where a 300 person venue is. But that was kind of where I thought we were headed, we needed, because we know people like to get together, and it'd be nice to have everybody out there and check it out.
We did have the option for a 350 person venue.
Oh yeah,
but it was all chairs.
Yeah,
that's all I'm saying. MSS. I'm not saying it needs to be 100 people. I'm saying it needs to have the same vibe. It needs to have the same atmosphere. So if it's 250 people, but we're doing it in a same kind of bar atmosphere, I'm down with that. But I'm not. I feel weird going let's set this up like a rock show. Everyone stands, right? Or we're gonna have rows of seats. I'm Chris Cornell coming out doing a solo acoustic show. I'm not down with that.
Be fucking sweet if you railed off a 5-minute bass solo, my man. That's all I'm saying.
The main reason is that if we did something like that, we'd all have to do 1.5 hour podcast sets up there, which I'm sure we could do, but it'd be a fucking mess.
This is what I'm thinking about too when we talk about the size or the intimacy. Thank you, Dolan.
Cheers,
I appreciate you.
So,
is one of the reasons I like it is because I get to press the flesh with everybody. Our ground game is the reason why we have a lot of people, followers, people listen to our shit, is because we get out there, we meet you, and we become friendly, and we're out there with the people. The bigger it gets, the harder that is. And secondly, it puts more stress on the panels, I think. At 100 people like that, there's no stress on the panels because half the people ain't paying attention. They're just there to see their friends, all that shit. So it changes the way the production's got to go, in my personal opinion. It's kind of a different thing. One suggestion I had, and I didn't realize it was going to go this good, Treasy, we should have gone longer with questions. Now, I didn't know we were going to have questions, but if we have a bigger room, we'll go longer with questions because then you got more chance of questions.
So honestly, I was ready to go longer with the questions, but to give you guys a little bit of what happened prior to the show, the guys who were playing downstairs, some of them are 108 fans, White Sox fans, and they knew we were upstairs, and they actually moved their sets around so that the panels and the bands weren't going at the same time. So for me to go, we're going to add some more questions and go long, would have been a little shitty to them for what they were willing to do for us to let the panels go without the band. So that's why we didn't extend it. I would have loved to have had more questions. Probably would have let Sammy Davis Jr. finish his question, which would still be going, actually.
Okay, two things. Maddie Mitch says, think about how awesome shows are at the Metro and how much they suck at the United Center. First of all, slow your roll, Maddie Mitch. We're playing the Elbow Room right now, and we're trying to move to the Metro. Okay,
no,
so we're
basically going Elbow Room to like Double Door. That's
I mean, it's not even we're not talking the same things here. We're not going to be like, oh, there's 10,000 people here now. No, we can't sell 10,000 tickets. That's
but he's
ridiculous.
Right. He's right. He's right in a sense, right?
Yeah.
Like if you think about if you go to like the Metro, right? Like it is more of a bar atmosphere. When you go to the United Center, you're just sitting in your seat.
Oh, agreed.
Right.
Agreed.
Over here, like that's not the same vibe.
My vibe was that we're not going this big. We're not looking to do something that huge. Now this other thing here, and this is from our guy Fids. I won't lie, a live Sunday soak in front of 150 people would be epic. That was actually talked about though when we first got with Goose Island, getting together with Ron Kittle in a mobile hot tub like in Wrigleyville somewhere, or doing something for a live Sunday soak. That did not happen. I don't know what you had up there.
I had this
pulled something incredible.
Yeah, Sal pulled some shit here. So he says, rent the community room at St. Mary's of Perpetual Help on 32nd Aberdeen. Yeah, that was our parish growing up. Teresa and I. That's where we know all that shit right there.
Block.
Yes, absolutely, right there. And I'm not gonna lie to you. One of my ideas, because we got to get out and do more live stuff, is to rent a church basement and BYOB this shit, and we'll collect cash for tickets at the door and do a show like that. I want to do a little more renegade show action. So maybe not bigger venues.
What about a VFW?
Different venues. Yeah, something like that would be like kind of fun.
I think a VFW would be good. We know a guy that knows a lot of shows at the VFW. A lot of beer events over there.
John has a great idea here.
This is a great point. Yeah,
Bourbon,
for sure.
Bourbon Street does have some of those rooms. I've been intoxicated in all of those rooms.
Allegedly, Teresa. Not sure.
Beef. We took a cab from Bourbon Street.
We did. Yeah, that's right. Yeah,
someone's birthday party or something. Yeah. It was a lot of Jaeger.
It's like let's cab it out there, baby. It was good times.
like the $90 cab ride back from like nondescript cab company on the way back. We're alive. That's all I can say about that.
Another thought, as much as I love the giveaway, I thought about this kind of afterwards. The amount of people who said they didn't bring their giveaway with them, forgot it. I was thinking that was a fun idea, but was it just a waste of money if no one kept it? Like if everyone got too drunk to leave it, it was fun, but then do we just not spend money on that?
You know what you need next year is something that is pocket size. So instead of a thing to maybe clean that up, maybe to catch it. That's true. Giveaway.
Yeah.
But nice.
We had never done this before. We'd never done a giveaway like of this magnitude before, right? Like we'd had stuff that we would throw at people or whatever, but never something for everybody to take home. Would I do it again? I don't know if I'd do it again. Like
that's where I'm at too.
I thought it was okay. I wanted to try it. And I think we all wanted to try it because I thought the idea was hilarious. We thought the idea was fucking hilarious.
And it was. It's a funny idea. Like
we're going to give you a jizz rag, with the 108 logo on it. And
you're going to make Josh Nelson call it a jizz rag during their panel. Then that was perfect.
Well,
better than the pass and cuck thing. I'll be honest with you.
You were with me when we were passing them out. You were with me when we were exactly, Josh. You heard what I was saying.
That's right. 108 in condoms. That's absolutely.
Beef, you were with me when we were passing them out.
Yeah.
And Cornsey was like, "Oh, this is nice, like a bar towel." I was like, "Or a towel for something else." and then you were like, "Look at the logo," and she's like, "Ah."
She went from happy to absolutely disgusted in like seconds.
It was like you can tell
like
she was
response.
Immediately uncomfortable handling them, as if they were used,
Right? Yes.
As far as I know, they weren't used. So they were too perfectly folded to be used, and none of them were stuck together. So I think we're okay.
Billy used one.
Yeah,
it's a Nickelodeon. It is a Double Dare theme. That was kind of the thing that I got when I was immediately thought of it. I was like, I'm going to design a jizz rag based on Double Dare, and I wanted to use jizz rag on it, but I didn't. And I just said, hey, let's
good
make
choice. Good choice. I think
if anyone brings it out in me, it's Mark Summers. So that makes sense.
Yeah, that's absolutely right.
Speaking of jizz rags, MSS, why don't you tell us about how someone could get a jizz rag if they wanted one?
All right. So if you head over to our website, www.fromthe108.com, you can do this. Hey, this past Saturday, we gave away over 100 official 108 Jizz Rags to the 108 Day Live guests. No longer will a sock, t-shirt, washcloth, towel, or wet wipe be used to clean up your seed. The 108 Jizz Rag can be used alone or with your partner. Either way, it comes in very handy. Available now on our merch shop for only $15 shipped. So do what my sock summer does. Go to www.fromthe108.com, scan all the way to the bottom, or go to the right side. If you're on your phone, scan to the bottom. If you go to the right side, if you're on your computer, there's a merch link. It's click that, or go to Google and just type in From the 108 store, and it will take you right to the motherfucker. That's what I do. I don't want to say, hey, go to fromthe108.com/big cartel, blah, blah, blah. I don't know. I just Google this shit. That's what Google's for. Okay, just use Google.
Dude, send them to our website, fromthe108.com. It's right fucking there's a big ass button. Don't tell them to Google it. Fuck Googling it.
Google it too. It doesn't matter.
Kiss my Google ass. How's that sound? No?
Hey, listen, the more clicks we get on Google, the more we show up, So I want From the 108 hashtag JizzRag trending. Let's get us up there.
Put it on Twitter. That's a good idea.
$15 shipped.
K-Dog's in the comments. He said, I left mine there. Send one for free or go fuck yourself. I want this on record. Next time I see K-Dog, I'm kicking him in the nuts. I'm sick of this bullshit. All right, he's talking a lot of shit. I'm kicking him right in the balls when I see him next time.
Let me put it on YouTube short. Kick him in the nuts.
I'll give him in the nuts. Okay, then you give him a free towel.
You want one in the fucking nuts, or you want a free towel? Kick one in the nuts. Yeah, I agree.
I think someone should hand deliver him one. I think that would be the beautiful thing.
I'll wrap it around my fist and deliver that shit. Bastard.
Cheers, Dougie.
Thank you, Dougie.
Thanks, Doug.
Oh man.
Running total right now, I got 20, 25, 30, $35 for people that have
beautiful.
108 day. So that's going to be $90 between the three of us. Just so you know, you got to give me
that's not how math works.
Give me $30.
No, it's not.
Yeah. No. This is $30.
You said 35. I thought.
Oh, I'm sorry. 105. That's 105.
He ran Madoff 17 for it. Doesn't count.
Hey, listen. Good job, Frank. Closer to Madoff.
Exactly.
All right. Is that I'll actually make the donation?
How many AOL stocks do I have, buddy? All right. So we talked about probably one of the biggest pieces of shit we could talk about at the beginning of the show, but we're going to go a little bit different direction with the draft we're going to do tonight. And we are going to do the most likable pieces of shit.
Yes.
Draft. And this is real or fictional characters.
Yep.
And I'll go 1-1 so that I can give you.
Let's do that draft.
Oh, yeah, I love the graphic.
I gotta use that logo. That's a beautiful logo. Rip that off from the NBA draft.
Now that should be a T-shirt right there.
Let's do that.
That looks like a T-shirt.
So I'm gonna go 1-1 because
Brian, we've been doing drafts since before you were born. Take it easy.
This guy is both a real life charismatic piece of shit and a movie charismatic piece of shit. And I think this is a perfect 1-1 beef after you tell me the topic. Henry Hill. Henry Hill
that is a good one, a really good one.
Is a guy that like people just loved. Like you watch Goodfellas, you're rooting for him.
Yes.
But he's a total piece of shit. He's an absolute piece of shit in that movie. You want him to get away with everything.
So in the agent in the movie, he's a real agent. Okay, the guy who talks to them about going to witness protection, MSS, he's a real agent. I saw an interview with him, and he said Henry Hill is like the most charismatic guy you've ever met in your entire life. You want to be his best friend, and then you realize he's a fucking murderer. He's murdering people, and it's like, wow, he's so friendly and talkative, and I really like this guy. It's like, so I'm feeling this one, Treasy, big time.
Do we get this one?
Let me ask
from
you
Maddie.
This.
Cheers,
Thank you, Maddie. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Maddie. That just popped up. Treasy, one of the things that I took into consideration when I was creating these people is like redeeming qualities, and definitely thought of him, Ray Liotta's character, God damn it, what the fucker? I'm trying to think of his name. I can't even. You said it, and
Henry Hill.
Henry Hill. God damn it, because he was on the Stern Show, and he was just so horrible on the Stern Show. And they're like, what was the redeeming quality that was like behind like Henry that people actually enjoyed?
It's not. I just couldn't. It's not like he was doing this, which was so good. It was that he was charismatic and people liked him. If you think about Goodfellas, he's like the guy. He's the main character. He's the guy you are rooting for in that movie. Or if you think about the other movie that's made about him, which is My Blue Heaven, even more so, right? You love that character, right? But you talk to people or you hear from people that are doing like these shows and stuff, and they're like, I think I like this dude, but he was a fucking bad person. But also, if you watch Goodfellas, you inherently, and maybe I'm the only one, maybe I'm fucked up.
No, I don't.
No, I'm with you.
I feel like everybody's like, yeah, I want this guy to get away with this. I don't want him to get killed. I don't want him to get pinched. Right? Like you're excited for that character. So Henry Hill to me is a likable piece of shit. And I think because in real life and in movie, he achieves that, I'm putting him 1-1.
Now, very quickly, Brandon Stokes in the comments, he said he's also working right now.
Good job.
Just a poll of the three of us in the comments. Feel free to weigh in. Do you believe Brandon Stokes really has a job? Because I do not.
I don't know.
MSS, you're with me, right? You're not sure,
Yeah,
like
50-50 because
it's a job in quotes, whatever it is. It's like he's getting money for it, but it's not. There's no W-2 is what I'm thinking.
Staking out like the 7-Eleven to see if this chick that you like goes in there. Like, I don't know if that's a job per se.
Yeah.
I mean, you can say you're on the job, but like, I don't know. I don't think that works. Hope you took home your jizz rag though.
Brian S., I have to ask you, would you like a vanilla brand oat crunchy? Manny Mitch with us Americans love our mafiosos, which
yes, we
reminds me of a tweet, and I have to do it right now because we're talking about this. I saw this. Someone posted a picture of this tweet, and the guy's like, why like we shouldn't like the mafia, or why mafia life isn't an aesthetic or something. And the first before he could do his thread, someone responded, "I cook a pizza." I still makes me laugh for no reason. It's just a stupid thing, but I love it.
John Carney says, I ordered the jizz rag, got egg noodles and ketchup. I appreciate everyone's in here. Brohan Luke says Stokes is a semi-pro professional bowler. This I believe. Now that's the job I believe he has.
He's a pro bowler. Oh no, he was in the Pro Bowl.
Yeah.
My Sack Summer. Who's your number 2 pick here?
So I'm gonna do something like you guys. I'm gonna give you a little hints. I'm gonna do a nice little lead up. Okay. I'm gonna say the good things about the person and the things that are totally despising about that I despise about that person. Put Chicago on the map for like basically the rest of eternity. Build a huge brand that still continues to sell millions and makes people very happy. Made a great movie with Bugs Bunny and won 6 trophies for the city of Chicago. Those are the pluses. The negative was unnecessarily mean to Will Perdue. It might be the worst teammate ever to exist that didn't murder somebody. Like, I was like, he's probably better than a teammate that killed another teammate, but probably just barely. Like he just did everything but murder him. Shot a Hanes commercial rocking a very interesting mustache. Reportedly was unfaithful to his long-term wife. And who can forget, fuck them kids. Of course, I'm taking the GOAT, Michael Jordan.
I love it. I'm glad you mentioned the mustache. That's one of my favorite Norm Macdonald bits. When he was like, could you imagine being the director on that commercial? And like, oh, hey, how about we take a break to maybe like shave or something?
Or pencil in the rest. Like, even if he's like, oh, if I fucked up, I got a little too whatever. Let's pencil that in, Mike. Let's see what we got going on. So Michael Jordan definitely to me stands out. Like, especially as you learned all the stories and then found out later of like what a piece of trash he was as a kind of a human, as a father, as a husband, and then brought a lot of joy to a lot of people. In 23 is very, very important. The year of the Jordan.
I like that. You don't like his fathering. You don't like his fathering technique, where it's like, "Why don't you go fuck my teammate's ex-wife?" That's a good idea. Dad's there for you. He's guiding you to go do this.
Pile under bad teammate. Pile under bad teammate.
Right there. I was thinking other bad teammate, like Kobe's got to be on an all-time list of bad teammates as well, but Michael's got to be above him. I agree. If Steve Kerr gets a vote, I think he's gonna vote Michael. He's gonna vote Michael for punching him in the face. I think it's probably gonna be the case.
Who's the guy in The Last Dance that he fucks with the whole
Scott Burrell. Scott Burrell. He's
Scott
fucking very Scott Burrell. There's some veteran too, and if you guys remember in the comments, bring it up. There's some veteran they signed kind of late in his career, or whatever. And Michael just berated this dude. The guy was he wasn't doing well in practice or whatever, and he just laid in this guy until they ended up actually having to fucking cut him because he was like, he couldn't put up with Mike and he couldn't play well enough anymore. It's like, man, they brought in the guy at the end of his career and he fucking buried this poor bastard. Like
Robert Parrish, Robert Parrish was supposed to get a fight with him.
Right? I do remember the Sal story here that's like he wanted to gamble for Kennedy's.
I've heard that before too.
Yes. That's a wild ass story too.
Yep.
And not like one of the Kennedys. Kennedy from MTV.
Yeah,
like that's it.
She told that story. So
yeah, she's told that, right? She's to be a virgin.
You got the turnaround, Beef.
I got the turnaround. So I'm going to go with two fictional characters, but they're two of my favorite fictional characters ever, and one of them is my number one favorite character in the history of television. And he's so fucking likable, but he's such a tremendous piece of shit. Even after his wife berates him to not, stop with the Gumars, he fucks a woman with one leg. I mean, this is the type of guy that we would bring in for likable pieces of shit. But then he's out there feeding the ducks, man. He's there to save Pyomai. It's Tony Soprano. Tony Soprano for me would have been 1-1 most likable piece of shit I could possibly think of.
No,
it's great going after Christopher's girlfriend. I mean, that is like
absolutely
that's the lowest of the low kind of shit. Like,
just a tremendous piece of crap.
I 100%.
And even talking through it. He could have a family with her and all this stuff. He could start over, and it's like, what the fuck is wrong with you? Like, what the hell is your problem, man?
In Beef, what's funny? Because of that documentary about the Dansbury Trashers, I think you're in the same vein as me, where like the real life guy, also you're like kind of like, this guy's kind of likable. Oh, he bought a hockey team for his kid. That seems cool. But he went to prison for what? Oh, okay. not a great guy. Not a great guy.
Now this
I
one,
like the guy more than I like Tony Soprano, though. I tell you,
you don't like Tony Soprano.
You know what happened with me?
You know more about Tony
Soprano. I want to hear this. Yeah, go ahead.
You know more about Tony Soprano.
I think that's true. That's true because they didn't make a story about the other guy. But like I think it was the 5th season where they had the mics up his nose, so he was just like the whole goddamn whine. He was out of breath and he was just dying. It was just like you made so obnoxious and he's killing everybody. And I was like, okay, I don't like Tony Soprano anymore. Like I'm done with him.
Breathing.
Like these,
nose
there was
breathing
nothing.
is your problem.
It was just too much, dude. Well, that and the killing. The killing was
the second. Nose breathing, killing.
Yeah.
That's right.
Nose breathing was definitely more annoying than the killing.
But if he would have
the
eaten,
killing was
if he would have eaten the people after he killed them, not so bad. That's okay, decent. All right, my next pick is a little bit of a deeper cut here, but you guys are going to no doubt remember. Some of the people in the comments might be too young to really remember this vividly or like understand the magnitude of this movie character. But this character people were so obsessed with this character, even in the movie, that they'd be willing to go to great lengths and risk their own fucking death to get intimately involved with the character. And that character was played by Sharon Stone in Basic Instinct. Catherine Trammell is one of the most likable pieces of shit ever. Like,
that's good.
You were willing to get that pussy, even if you're going to die from that shit. Like, you were risking getting the ice pick, getting killed. It didn't matter. You're in. You're going for it, man.
Pre-throat cancer, Michael Douglas is right down on that one, baby.
It might be how he got it.
Yeah, it could be. Who knows? I mean, just like when I brought this this category up, I was thinking, yes, that because I was like, it's gonna be male dominated, so I gotta think along the lines of women here, and I was like, that could be a 1-1 like example of this shit. Like,
yeah, that's good.
All right, MSS, you're up.
All right. Referred to as the modern day Robin Hood. Cheered by spectators when he appeared at White Sox and Cubs games. He would have been a big 108 Day supporter as he donated tons of money to charities. He helped out immigrants in the best city in the world, Chicago. He's also responsible for the most famous drive-by in Chicago history, the St. Valentine's Day Massacre, in which 7 gang rivals were murdered in broad daylight, damaged the public image of Chicago and him, influencing influential citizens to demand government action and the newspapers to dub him public enemy number 1. But he campaigned for expiration dates to be printed on milk cartons. But according to the legend, that was even for his own gain. My number 2, Al Capone, baby. You know, like he was just. I mean, people loved him because he did some shit. Like same with like murder, like
Even
Bernie,
now, he's like a legend.
Doing the money out there. He made people happy.
MSS, when you said
not kill him.
When your first one, when you said put Chicago on the map, I thought you were saying Al Capone because when I was after senior year of high school, me and a friend, a couple friends from high school and some of their friends, we went to Cancun, right? Go to Cancun, we're at 17, 18 years old, just partying or whatever, and everyone down there, when you say you're from Chicago, Al Capone, bang, bang, bang. It's like, that's the shit they know. This shit was 70 years ago. Like, what the fuck? I don't know Al Capone. We ain't been hanging out with Al Capone, motherfucker. He's been a dirt nap for 40 years, all right? Like, what the fuck?
Way too long for us to be hanging out with him.
One of the stories, and this is something that I had known, like it was like, oh yeah, I read this big, huge book called The Syndicate. It's like 600 fucking pages, and it's about the Chicago gangs and stuff. So I'd always read that like he was like some of his family members had gotten sick from expired milk, so he was like, we got to put expired dates on there so immigrants' kids are not dying and people aren't dying. Well, so then I read today on a website, which seemed legit. Like when he did that, he controlled all the equipment capable of printing the labels on the bottles, and he was like he also knew like once prohibition was over, he had all these bottling machines that he had to use. So he's like, well, I can just bottle milk and I can put the expiration date on it and I can do it. So I'm gonna make money on this. So it's just like it blew my mind even more. I was like, oh god, I like him even less, but I still like him. Like I thought he had a little bit of a redeeming quality. All the murdering, and the passing the syphilis, all the horrors. I mean, not good. Definitely doesn't shine
getting it past to him as well. I mean,
it fucked him up. I definitely Al Capone is my number 2.
White Sox Sal's asking, Beef, did you have trouble with the language barrier in Mexico? Yeah, I don't speak Spanish, but I'll tell you one thing though. I unlocked something when I was down there. I was only 17. I turned 18 while we were on the trip. So 17, we're hanging out, we're playing volleyball, whatever. And there's a 30-something woman really pushing up on me, And then it was my birthday of the day, and she found out how old I was. And she was like, there was like a look of shock in her face. But that's when I knew I had the GILF magic. Way back then, I knew a lot older women, they're way into me. And so like, I didn't even need Werther's. Back then, it's just, a Miami Vice or some shit. Like, it's only a 30-something, so you don't got to go that far. But like, I knew it back then, Sal. So thanks for bringing that up.
So I'm gonna go for my first pick here with a guy this is a movie character, but he absolutely wraps you around his finger for the entire movie. And spoiler warnings for people who haven't seen this movie. It's only, like 30 something years old, but this guy kind of wraps you around his finger for the entire movie. He tells you this story and you are on this guy's side for the entire story until he loses his limp at the end. And even then you're like, oh my God, this guy got away with it. And I love it. Roger Verbal Kint, AKA Kaiser Soze.
Nice. Good choice.
Horrible guy. Killed his own family.
Yep.
Like just everything. He's responsible for every death in the movie.
That's a good one.
You're watching it going like, I'm glad this motherfucker got away. Like you are happy with how this ended. But yeah, absolute piece of shit. But you love him at the end of the movie.
That's one of those movies too, where like when it all unraveled itself, you're like, oh my God, that's what it was. Like you're like, what the fuck? Like I love movies like that.
Incredible movie. It's on my list. If you talk about movies, it's on my list of movies I wish I could watch again for the first time. Right, like where you don't know what's going on. Right, like doing if you were to watch like The Sixth Sense or something like that, right? But Usual Suspect is probably like my number one, where I would be like, I would love to see that and not know what's going on. Like I would love to be able to erase my brain and be able to watch that again for the first time.
Yeah.
All right.
Absolutely.
My second one, I feel like I've been neglecting music, which is, I love music. And so I'm just going to read you this quote from this guy's Wikipedia page. His rock and roll career faltered in the wake of his marriage to Myra Gale Brown, his 13-year-old cousin. That's Jerry Lee Lewis. And that shit is like 50 years ago. And that he continued to be a beloved musician after this. Like, How do you
Powered
come
right
back
through it,
from
baby.
that?
No
How
problem.
do you come back from that? That's an all-time bad guy. And the other thing on top of it, like by all accounts, a total asshole. Like it's not like well, he's got this one bad quality, you know. He married his 13-year-old cousin like a fucking scumbag, but otherwise he's a really nice guy. No, this guy was a fucking asshole too. And like, I shit you not, this is on me. I'm gonna put this one on myself. A few years back, he was playing Riot Fest. I was like, I gotta go check out Jerry Lee Lewis.
Of course you did.
I'm like, as I'm walking over there, I'm like, there was a moment of like, man, this guy's a absolute piece of shit. But I should probably catch him before he dies. So like, I'm putting Jerry Lee Lewis in there as my my number 3 pick.
That's a great pick, especially if you're going to lead off with a musician.
Yep.
Like, that's absolutely perfect.
All right, we are back to my sock summer.
So my guy's not a musician. He was raised by loving parents, but fell into the throes of drug addiction. Took great care of his aunt who was dying of cancer. He helped out his buddy when he needed to make some extra money to support his family after he was diagnosed with cancer. He was a local businessman who gave jobs to convicts that might not have had a job if not for him or his enterprise. And above all, he was empathetic, much more so than his business partner, Walter White. But as a meth dealer and manufacturer, he was responsible for tons of deaths, turned a high school science teacher into a ruthless drug dealer, killed or was responsible for about 16 deaths, not drug related, not a great person, but very likable. Jesse Pinkman, Maddie Mitch, you said it in the comments like 3 times.
Right
I was
away.
like, these guys don't like Breaking Bad, or else I'd be really pissed at you.
Oh, dude, I love Breaking Bad.
Oh, I thought you didn't really care for it.
No, I watched Better Call Saul too.
I was gonna say I've only gotten through the middle of season 2. It's a little slow. I'm sorry.
It's good.
There's some action, but it's a little slow.
Saul Goodman could be in this draft too. You know, if someone wanted to pick him.
Yeah, but Jesse Pinkman always to me just like stood out as like, oh god, this guy's not cut out for this. Like, yes, he's a bad kid. Yes, he's got this and he's got that, but he was never as ruthless as Walter.
But you like him.
Never at all.
You like him
you
the
love
whole
him.
time, and he's a piece of shit.
Yep.
Perfect for the
Yep.
draft.
That's
Totally
true.
pissed as shit.
All right, Beef.
All right, I got the turnaround here.
You got your last 2.
All right. First off, I'm gonna break the mold a little bit. I'm gonna go with a cartoon character. Okay. I don't think there's often cartoon characters that are at the same time lovable, but a tremendous piece of shit and just only looking out for themselves. Huge fucking narcissist. And for me, that is Rick Sanchez from Rick and Morty. All right. I love Rick Sanchez. He's so smart and does all this cool shit, but he's a tremendous piece of shit. He always puts his family at huge risk just for his own devices. Doesn't care about anyone else but his fucking self. I couldn't think, like, when I was like, I gotta get one cartoon character. Boom, that was the only one that snapped to my mind. I was like, this guy's a piece of crap.
Easy pick. Was on my list. Was definitely on my list.
Yes. All right, I'm happy
because
about that.
he's like one of the worst people in the universe. Like what he subjects his grandson to is outrageous.
Mm-hmm.
But I love him. Like, and now because it's a cartoon, it's a little easier for me to take that in. But like, for sure, like I think that
you
that's
can detach easier because it's a cartoon. But like, he's a tremendous piece of shit. And I can't wait till new Rick and Morty's come out though. I'm in on it. Count me in the second I get a chance to watch it. So that's my first one. My second one, we talked about this before the show as an example of someone you could and should pick. And for me, it's a guy who used to be in the White House for 8 years, and that's George W. Bush. And look, the reason I'm picking him is because you could pick a lot of bad things about presidents, but he was always the president where even the side that didn't vote for him was like, they'd love to have a beer with him. Except he's a war criminal, and he's blowing up everyone for no fucking reason. Like, extremely bad guy, but cool. You'd like to hang out with him and have a beer. Like, you'd hear that so many times. It's like,
too much.
You can't reconcile. You know what? Treat him like you treat some of the other presidents you don't like. Just keep him in that side of the thing.
Yeah, it's crazy. Like people act like he was accidentally the president. Like
yes,
like that he didn't try to be the president, and they're like, oh well, yeah, he wasn't smart enough to be the president, so that's not his fault. It's like, well, he fucking ran.
Exactly. He made that his career. Like, what the hell?
Like it's not like he was like he was just like off in the pasture, like on a horse, and they're like, "Hey, sir, you're now the president, and you got to deal with this shit." No, that was his what he wanted to be, and then he committed a shitload of war crimes, and then you're like, you know what though? Seems like a nice guy. He seems like a nice guy.
And like the only reason I feel safe picking him is because I think he's more universally liked than any president of our lifetime. Like he's liked kind of across the aisles. Like I think there's like enough of like he's a regular guy kind of thing. So normally I wouldn't pick a politician, but I had to in this case.
You don't think Bill Clinton was liked more by both sides of the aisle?
At some point in time, not.
So I don't think he is anymore. Bill Clinton is on my list. I'm not going to pick him because I've got some delicious picks left, and I only got one pick left. But
delicious.
I will go to you, MSS. Who do you got?
So
this is your last pick.
This is my last pick.
Your last pick.
So I want to make sure that everyone takes this with a grain of salt, and we roll forward with that. This guy has some very interesting takes. Big Carlos Lee fan. Doesn't like any of the moves that the White Sox made that ended them winning a 2005 World Series championship. Particularly don't like things that he tweets. Don't particularly care for the people that he associates with on the internets, in his group and his Twitter stuff. But this is the character. I am drafting the character Ken W.O. as the most likable piece of shit. I'm not talking about the person, Ken W.O. I'm talking about the character, Ken W.O., who is probably the most likable piece of shit on White Sox Twitter.
Do you think he's likable?
I think
that's my main question. That's my main question. Do you think he's likable?
Yeah, I think he is.
I almost think he's like the opposite of this. Like he's hated, but like he's actually a pretty good guy. Like it's like
he's like really not that much of a piece of shit, but not likable at all. Like I was thinking that too, Tracy. It's like I think most of the people in the comments don't like him.
Right. I would say like if anyone in the comments like I love Ken W.O., I would be pretty.
I'd be shocked.
Well, I like Ken. I like Ken. I don't know if I like Ken W.O. all the time, but I just like I was like, I want to put a little bit of panache here.
Betty Mitch goes, does followers equal likable? No, it does not. Not at all. No, it could never.
There's some real.
And Little Yumper says, beef proving uses paper towels for blowing his nose. Yeah, that's what I keep here. And they're more absorbent. I put out there on the internet. I can't believe how many people are with me. So.
Oh man, so this last pick is tough because there's so much left, man. There's so many great things left, and a lot of them are from movies. And this I'm going to risk losing the draft here because
I love it.
I think that this is a great pick, but I don't know if it truly is. This guy is one of the worst people in movies. In fact, he's a guy in horror movies. But towards the end of the first movie first movie you probably saw that introduced you to this character, when he delivers the line, "I'm going to have an old friend for dinner," you are like, yeah, fuck that guy.
Yes, you are.
Good pick.
Hannibal Lecter. Hannibal Lecter is extremely likable in that movie for what he is. And my sex summer, I hate to bring a cannibal into this conversation, but I've got to because Hannibal Lecter is a character in movies where you're like,
allegedly.
You are enamored by this guy. You're just like you.
It was good. He's good.
He wears another person's face in a fucking movie, and and after that, you're like, yeah, go get that other guy.
You're
like you were down with it.
Like,
you're down with it. You're down with him being free at the end of the movie somehow. So I'm going Hannibal Lecter, likable piece of shit.
That's a good pick.
That's good. Great way to close that.
Good pick.
All right. Well, I think we gotta dump the list.
You gotta dump a few, right?
Definitely
You said you had a
I've-
shitload, right?
I've got so many.
So hold on.
Then you go last, Treasy.
I'll go last.
Yeah. How many do you got, Loaf?
I got, let's see, I got like 8.
8? Okay, I have I don't have as many. Okay,
You go
so
first,
we'll
baby.
go first.
You
I
go
got
first.
Heath Ledger's Joker character. I thought was awesome. Loved
That's
him.
a great one.
He was a fucking lunatic. Guy, one of my favorite people ever in books, and then on the movie, Tyler Durden. I thought Tyler Durden was great.
That's a good choice. Yeah.
Now, I have the same guy playing 2 different characters that are both fucking hateable, but also you love them. First one is Alonzo Harris, which is Denzel Washington in Training Day. It's when he shoots up Ethan Hawke and does all these things and blasts this guy with the bitch, right in the chest when they come in. Like, he is a horrible person, but also very likable. And you would be like, this would be a fun guy to hang out with until he shoots you in the chest with the bitch. So other than that, that one. And then his other character that I also loved, Frank Lucas, who's Denzel in American Gangster. Like, because Frank Lucas was an incredible piece of shit. Yes. But he was also pretty fucking awesome, like shoving it up somebody else's ass, like shoving it up white America's ass. I loved it. It was beautiful. Good job. Denzel getting 2 honors in my like cash out list here.
Gordon Gekko showing up is awesome. That's a great one.
That is, but too soon because we just had the Madoff thing, so it's a little too soon. But yeah, no, the comments are absolutely on fire because I think people like this topic. They think they could draft the better ones than us, and I think they probably could. I'm just looking around. There's some.
I will throw one that a bunch of people have said that is definitely on my list. Is Frank Reynolds from It's Always Sunny. That is it. That's Danny DeVito's character. Incredible character. I love him. Like, people watch the show for him, and he's a total piece of shit. He's off, like, to the point where they had a Christmas special, and his character is the father of 2 of the people in the show, and they tell about how Christmas went for them, and he would find out what they wanted for Christmas, and he would buy it for himself, so they couldn't have it. That's what a dickhead he is in the show. All right, Beef, dump your list.
All right, I'll mow pretty quickly. I'm going to go with the actor, Patrick Dempsey. He always plays the lovable heartthrob, but he's a huge penis in real life. People can't stand him. Clay Davis from The Wire. I lied, Treasy. I have one Wire character. Clay Davis, so likable and such a piece of shit throughout that show. Regina George from Mean Girls.
Yeah, that's a good one. That's
very, the guys are into her, and even the girls. They wanted to be around her, but she was terrible, awful person. Frank Abagnale. Like the number one kind of scammer.
I have Frank Abagnale.
Catch Me If You Can movie. Sam Kinison. Sam Kinison at one point was like the biggest comedian and beloved by comedians. He knocked up his best friend's wife. And I mean, let's just like he was a scumbag in his partying days, just a real piece of shit.
Dayton sisters.
Exactly. Dennis Rodman, but just as a basketball player. Because if he was on your team, you fucking love Dennis Rodman. He'd be your favorite player if he's on the roster. But if he was against you, you couldn't stand him. You hated him so fucking bad. And then the last one, Elvis Presley. That goes without saying. He stole music left and right, and then he married younger girls. Treasy, I think you were gonna give a little Elvis Presley for me.
Yeah. So Elvis Presley. So obviously, like, he married, like, he's been dead for like 51 years or something like that. And
I think that's right.
And Priscilla's only 77. So like,
yeah.
So he, like, but the thing was, if you read about like his bandmates talking about him and stuff too, he had like a term like little cherries or something like that. He liked banging like 14-year-old girls, he married his wife at 14.
Yeah,
like just absolutely disgusting shit. And like that's the kind of shit where it's like there's something genuinely wrong with this person.
Everyone's slagging me because Lisa Marie died. I didn't say anything about her.
She died.
I had no problem with Lisa Marie.
She's dead.
No, I'm talking about her piece of shit dead. That's not her. I got nothing against her.
He's still on the list. Like, it doesn't.
Yes, it's a piece of crap. No matter what. Like,
I think what they're saying is you brought it up, or you just were talking about Priscilla, and then you're like, dude, his daughter just died. Like, I think that's what they're saying.
Yeah, fuck them. All right, go ahead, Treasy. Dump your list.
All right, my list. All right, so I did have Bill Clinton on my list. The guy cheated on his wife, and then what he did was, instead of just going, "Hey, I fucked up, everybody. I'm sorry about that," he ruined the woman's life to get out of it.
Yep.
And then just denied the whole thing. He pulled the fucking "wasn't me" on the whole country, and then got reelected.
And then all the Epstein Island shit, and he's a bad guy.
But like, people love him. So like, I think,
or at least loved him. I don't know if they still love him, but they loved him.
I think his saxophone ways still keep people in.
Keep you mesmerized.
He's in the dog pound at Arsenio Hall. Everyone would really love
Anakin Skywalker.
That lives forever in SS.
AKA Darth Vader. That motherfucker did everything in his life. He was horrible. and then like he did one good thing at the end, and they're like, "Oh, this is a great guy." So like I don't like him. John Lennon, big. Oh man, peace is everything. Beat the shit out of his wife and kids, his first wife and kids. Good, great,
Wonderful,
great
guy.
peace guy. Patrick Bateman. I love Patrick Bateman, but he's an absolute piece of shit. Here's a character that like he has some variants of himself, so like it's all over the place. Loki from Marvel Universe, but this one I think you guys will be into. Hans Gruber. Hans Gruber is a likable piece of shit.
Oh, I kind of like that. Yeah.
Beetlejuice. I think not the guy on the Stern Show, the guy from the movie.
The movie,
Michael
yeah,
Keaton,
yeah.
Michael Keaton's Beetlejuice. Bodhi from Point Break. Bodhi from Point Break is a likable piece of shit. Vito Corleone.
Yeah.
This one's a little on the edge. Frank Costello. I enjoy Frank Costello in The Departed.
Yeah.
Very much a piece of shit though.
Might just be piece of shit.
Yeah,
He borders
he's
on.
the
You're
edge.
right.
He's
You're
on
right.
the edge. He's
You're
on the
right.
edge.
You're right, Treasy.
A couple female superhero ones. I've got Scarlet Witch and Catwoman. Catwoman, I think, especially is like you always like Catwoman, but bad person. Anna Delvey, the fake heiress we touched on at the beginning. I had her.
Yeah.
I had Charles Ponzi. He's the original. He's the OG.
Yes.
People must have liked him. They gave him a lot of money before that. It was a thing that existed.
Yep.
And then my last one is all psychics.
All psychics.
That's
Did you watch that Miss Cleo
You
documentary?
should have drafted that, Tracy.
The
I did have Tony Montana. I don't know why I must have like misclicked and removed him, but Tony Montana was definitely on my list.
White Sox Sal says Michael more than Vito. No, because Michael's not likable.
Michael's not like
That's his problem. He's not likable. Like Vito is very likable, but that's where it's tough to toe the line with some of these. Like if they're actually likable or not.
Lefty from Donnie Brasco is a great call.
That's
That's
a
a
good call.
great
Yeah.
call.
That was somebody that I was going to put on my list, and that I didn't because I was like, I don't want to keep slandering the Italians because I know these fucks will do it before me. So
Oh,
it was,
please.
I
How
had to
dare
leave
you.
it off. Yeah, that's how it is. I watched that Miss Cleo documentary. Not that good, but also she was not the perpetrator of the huge scam. She was just the face in front of the scam, which I
Dark
thought was very
helmet from
interesting.
Space.
Dark Helmet from Space.
That's correct. That's a good pick. That would have won this draft, actually.
Neil McCauley from Heat.
Yep.
That's a great
good call.
that's a great
Very
one.
good call.
Yeah, there's a lot.
Kathy Bates and Waterboy.
that is a good one. I like that one.
Tremendous.
I was going to toss in Jenny from Forrest Gump just for Queen Nam, but then I was like, I don't think there's any likable qualities about Jenny.
And this is maybe
she
maybe
was
not
just
likable.
mean. Like
Yeah,
she was
it's
nothing
terrible.
really nice. So
Oh man, Brian, you got me at my core. Rand Peltzer is definitely. I don't know if anyone likes him though. I do know he's a piece of shit. That is the father from Gremlins. That is he's
Yes.
absolute piece of shit.
Yeah, not likable. I don't think.
He's in the Grandpa Joe category.
Yeah, exactly.
That was a great draft, Beef. That was a great idea for a draft.
it was a good draft.
Thank you, baby. I had a lot of fun with it, and I even loved dumping the list and have everyone yell at me because I picked Elvis Presley because his daughter died today, even though he's been dead for 50 years.
I didn't know she died. I saw that she had
just
had a
happened.
heart attack. Okay, so it happened. So how could we?
It happened during the show. I don't know that she's
That's what
dead.
I was trying to say, but you guys are like, nah, fuck them. Fuck them. Fuck
Also,
you,
fuck them.
White
Though.
Sox
I
owners.
also fuck them for even bothering me.
Like I said, it
for
was
her.
Quernsey.
I'm sad for her
for
too. Yeah, but not. She know her dad's a piece of shit. Don't matter.
Yeah, I don't think she liked him. All right. It's time for some thank yous, fellas. Or some GFYs, whatever you want.
Hey.
My Stock Summer, I'll start with you, buddy.
So, I want to thank all the 108 fans that came out for a 108 Day Live and all the donators for 108 Day. I appreciate you guys coming through and kicking down some cash every year for these little things that we do. We appreciate it. And, we'll see you again next year.
Beef.
I'm going to go ahead and thank Rock Bottom Brewery on Grand and State Street, which closed this week. It had been there in that spot for over 20 years. It had a foothold. It was one of the early craft breweries in Chicago, and it really brought craft beer to almost everybody that we knew because at that age, that's when we started working down there. I worked actually directly across the street, spent many happy hours in there when it was cold, on the rooftop, the sun deck when it was warm outside. It was a great place to just catch lunch, have a beer with somebody. And so it's kind of sad to see it not going to be there anymore. It's like a lot of these old places that they eventually go, and it made me realize, Treasy, that we're getting old, man. Like that place was there when I started working. It opened in '99. My first year working downtown was 2000, and so like that shit was opening up kind of right when I was coming through there, and so it's a little sad that it's gone.
You know, my thank yous along the same lines of a place that was around for a long time. In fact, they're still around because we were just there. But it's Reggie's, and I want to thank Reggie's because I love doing the event there every year. It's really cool that Reggie's is a place that wanted to bring live music to the South Side and came into an area. When they moved into that area, like it was not nice.
Yeah, that's true.
Like it was not a nice neighborhood. And like they've been there for a long time. They've ingrained themselves in that area and just do great stuff over there. And they have continued as we've been doing this. They've just been really helpful to us and really accommodating in every sense to make those shows happen. So I want to thank them. They did a great job, and having like a bunch of servers and stuff this year. I mean, I'm sure that was good for them too, but like it was awesome for us. I think it was really nice to like. I didn't have a problem getting a drink all night. Like it was, and kind of no one I saw did. So it was really great. They put on they have a great place. And the other thing, because of the way they're set up as a music venue, they do all the tickets for us, which is just the hugest,
very nice,
hugest relief. Like, so that's really cool. But yeah, I want to thank them. And of course, I want to thank all of you who listen to the show every week, who come out to 108 Day, who comment during the show, who comment after the show, who message us.
Who tip?
I can't tell you how much we appreciate it. It's fantastic, and we will see you hopefully very, very soon. Thanks, everyone. Good night.
Go get a jizz rag.